YouTube family. Welcome. I am so glad that you're here today. And we have some very interesting poetry. And so, before we begin the poetry, I would like to say if you like what you hear, please hit the like button and also please share it with others. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so at Poetic Praize with Deborah. Now, and then one other thing, for if God puts it on your heart, I do have Cash App, and the Cash App tag is $Deborah So that's capital DEBORAH, capital M, capital CARSON. And if you donate as God leads you, that will enable me to continue to bring poetry to you. Okay, so let's get to it's called today's show is If Not Now, Then When. And today we are going to celebrate Black History Month. Even though we are in the month of March right now, it's okay to celebrate Black History Month any time of the year. It doesn't have to be February. There are so many African Americans who have done so much to help humanity, so many inventions. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, like the clock and the first open heart surgery and different hair products and the peanut and all the different products that comes from the peanut and the gas mask and the layout of Washington, D.C. And I could go on and on and on. There are so many inventions and so many things that African Americans have done to help humanity. And so that's what our show is about today. Okay, now, so let's get to the poem. If not now, then when? This is a poem given to me by the Holy Spirit. If not now, then when? If not now, then when, my friend? It's time for certain things to come to an end. Procrastination and hesitation. Stop sitting in the pew as if you are a man or woman with gifts and talents that are few. I have given you many gifts and talents to use for my glory. Now tell my story. I have given you so much for a time such as this. Even God himself keeps historical accounts of what was done. He doesn't hide and sweep wrongs under the rug as if there were none. Read 1 Kings and 2 Kings. 1 Kings and 2 Kings contrast the lives of those who live for God and those who refuse to live for God. It contrasts that. Those who refuse to live for God and perpetuate lies and live under a fake facade. Let me tell you something. God keeps his people in the know to promote growth and truth. So we can learn by studying history. We can learn what to do and what not to do. Seek, study, hear, and heed the valuable history lessons we need. I'll say that again. Seek, study, hear, and heed the valuable history lessons we need. If not now, then when, my friend? It's time for certain things to come to an end. Rid yourself of moral decay today. Don't wait until it's too late. Hiding the history of what was done as if these actions were none is not God's way. That's not God's way. Love God more than you love anyone or anything. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and tell the truth each and every day. Because if not now, then when, my friend? That's the one poem. Okay, let's move on. Now, I present to you another poem that I've written called Black Vastness. I had written this poetry book called It's a Love Thing, and it's a collection of poems and a short story about love, Black vastness, natural fun, and inspirational thoughts. And this was before I was married, so my maiden name is Matthews, so it has on here It's a Love Thing by Debbie Matthews. And then on the back is a picture of myself when I was younger, when I used to model. And it has interesting poems. So let's go ahead and go to page 20. Okay. This is called Black Vastness. The universe encompasses all. Mother's womb give birth to humanity. Rich, fertile soil cultivate the food of life. Habitats of earthly creatures regulated naturally. Night sky with many worlds, black vastness. Akibulan, land of origin of civilizations, mother and father of all colors, melon skin, others desire, endurers of excruciating pain, survivors for centuries past and yet to come, power, regalness, and royalty, black vastness, creations of God, black vastness. Okay, and then I present to you another poem called Self-Destruction. That's on page 22 of my book. So, on page 22, Self-Destruction. What inspired this poem is when I lived in an area that was, and I saw like young men fighting one another, shooting one another, and just, it was just terrible. And I sat there and watched. I said, wow, they always want to complain about Black Lives Matter and complain about, what different people are doing to us as a people. But I thought to myself, are they looking at what they do to each other? Black men and women I was like, are they looking at what they're doing to each other? So that's what inspired this poem, Self-Destruction. Bang, bang, black brother. You are dead. And you know what? The man didn't have to blow off your head. You did it for him instead. Standing on the street corners, selling your own people dope. And now the man is laughing and said, ha, ha, ha. He thinks it's a joke. Burning up your brain with coke and crack that you smoke. And the man is just waiting for you to croak. Blasting the boom box and system so loud that the drums burst in your ear. And now the man is thinking, ha ha ha, he'll never hear. But hear this, my black brother man. Use all of your power and demand. Take a positive stand so that our black race can withstand all obstacles set forth by the man. Have respect for yourself, for your family and friends, the black struggle and cause. Put your self-destructing actions on a lifetime pause. That poem was Self-Destruction. Now I present to you a poem that I've written called Rebirth My Brother. And that's on page 23. Rebirth My Brother. Bronze children of the Congo and now, we have been downtrodden and degraded for a long while. Our spirits have been bashed and broken. We have been used as a nigger token, alienated from loved ones young and old. We have been lynched, prohibited to love living in our land by the white master's hand. But oh, bronze children of the Congo and now, all was learned but not forgotten. But allowing these evil actions to chain us down rotten would be the most terrible self-inflicted crime, even though all of this was not so far back in time. We are the bronze children of the Congo and now, with our array of beautiful colors in our band. We must unite together and take a stand. Let us go back to our motherland. Africa, the motherland, place where peace and love began. Africa, the motherland, place where peace and love began. So reconstruct our African spirit and soul. Let our history and stories be retold. Rebuild our advanced self-governing civilizations. Create our own destinations. Reteach our many lavish tongues to one another. It is time for us to grow, my brother. Rich is our culture. We are the bronze children of the Congo and now. Africa, the motherland, place where peace and love began. Africa, the motherland, place where peace and love began. Rebirth, my brother. And the next poem I present to you is called One Color. You know, I am a firm believer that love, so, you know, everybody's heart, does the heart have a color? So I believe if two people love one another, that they should be together. If they respect one another, love one another, it doesn't matter if one's a different nationality than the other. And so this is what inspired this poem called One Color. Because I had a friend and her dad was an African American, but he was so prejudiced. He got so mad when his daughter married a Caucasian man, but the Caucasian man loved her and still does. They're still married to this very day, and that's been over 20 years. And they fell in love with one another. She's African American and he's Caucasian, and they fell in love with each other. They had a child together, been together ever since, still together. And I think it's beautiful when you find love. So that's what inspired this poem, One Color. One day, there will be no yellows, reds, blacks, or whites. There will be one color, the human race, and that's quite all right. There's a new generation that's here today, and we will break racist social barriers in every way. We, the new breed of youth, really like to mix and mingle, blending the races into a single. Racist ways we will defy, and there are valid reasons why. People are people. We all live and we all die. We shed the same blood. We cry the same tears. It's time to change prior racist years. We all have feelings and emotions, and it's time to put our love into motion, uniting together as one color, the human race. One color, the human race. Okay, and now, let's see, I will present to you another poem that I have written in my book called Our History. Now, let me tell you what inspired this poem. A long time ago, when I was a teenager, and my parents took us to an amusement park, and at the amusement park, they had this booth set up where the Historical Research Center or something like that, and they said that you could figure out the history behind your name, and you would give them your name, and they would type it in, and then they would print out a history of your people based on your name. And when I got the printout, at first I was all excited, and I was like, yes, I want this, I want this. And let me tell you, I was so excited to get that printout of my history based on my name. But when I saw what was written on the paper, it disappointed me, because all I saw was my ancestors were the slaves of so-and-so, and the slaves of so-and-so, and the slaves of so-and-so. And it just saddened me, because I know that there was far more to my people than being slaves and being in bondage. So that's what inspired this poem, Our History. Well, one can choose to accept the family name history provided by a historical research center. Some may find this data to be interesting and quite informative, and some may be felt with a feeling or left with a feeling of emptiness. Others may consider it downright degrading to hear the history behind the white slave masters who stripped us of our true names, land, and people. And many of our inquisitive minds and intellectual family members know about the continent of our great black origin, Africa, the motherland, place where peace and love began. You know, I tell you, many of our inquisitive minds and intellectual family members, we know the meaning of God and know that we are creations of God. We know this. So why should we take pride in the history of white slave masters who taught us at a very early age that our black bodies were less than human? We have always been taught that black is bad. Oh, many of the American words and phrases have negative connotations. Oh, it's so black outside. Black licorice is the nasty flavor. Oh, you must wear black when you're mourning at a funeral. Oh, don't have such a cold black heart. Oh, you're as black as dirt. Black is depressing. Don't fall through the black hole. Black sheep, black male, black mall, black ball, black Monday, black male, black sheep, black clouds, black ball, black Monday, black male. Stop it! Just stop it! Black is regalness, power, royalty, strength, and endurance. Our family will not let this black negativity be instilled in our minds because we know the truth of our great black origin, creation of Almighty God, Yahweh. From the tribe of Judah, we are the Israelites, and we are from a land of light. So let us journey back to our motherland. Listen to the beat of the drums, for they yield many messages about our family history, about our family's black regalness, culture, and our history. Now that's our history. Now, I'm the type of person that I also, I like to enjoy the poetry of other people. So a lot of times I will write my own poetry and share it so that people can enjoy my poetry. But I also enjoy the poetry of some of my favorite poets. And I know you guys know about Maya Angelou. She is my all-time favorite. And so I want to present to you my favorite poem that Maya Angelou wrote. And it's called Still I Rise. And this is by Maya Angelou, my favorite poet. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like air, I'll rise. I'll say it again. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I'll walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes. Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Oh, don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got diamonds digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear with the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. That is by Maya Angelou. Okay. And the last poem that I do want to present to you is by another favorite poet of mine called Sojourner Truth. They even have a mural of Sojourner on one of the buildings in Akron, Ohio. And I just love her poem, Ain't I a Woman? So, Ain't I a Woman? Well, children, well, there is so much racket. There must be something out of kilter. I think betwixt the Negroes of the South and the woman of the North, all talking about rights, these white men gonna be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about that a man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere? Nobody ever helped me into a carriage or over a mud puddle or gives me any best place. Now, ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered into bonds. No man can head me. Ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it and bear the lash as well. Ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most of all of them sold into slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. Ain't I a woman? Then they talk about this thing here in the head. What's this they call it? What's this they call it? Intellect? That's it, honey, intellect. Well, what's that got to do with women's rights and Negroes' rights if my cup will hold but a pint and yours will hold a quart? Wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure? Just a half measure full. And then that man back there, in the black back there, that man back in the black says that women can't have as much rights as men because Christ was not a woman. Now, where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. Now, if the first woman that God ever made was strong enough to turn this world upside down all alone, and these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it, and you men better let them. Obliged to you. Thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. Now, old Sojourner Truth ain't got nothing else to say, but ain't I a woman? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows like Jesus.
Nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, hallelujah. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya, kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya, kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya, oh Lord. Kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, kumbaya. Oh, Lord, kumbaya. Until the next time, I will see you later. Goodbye. Mi umbilical from my Yale. Bye-bye.